Hi, this is Marjorie, co-host of Star Wars Action News, and I'm going to review The Force Unleashed for the Wii. The first thing I noticed with the Wii version of this game is we were playing two different versions of it. The Wii's graphics, not near as good as the PS3 or the Xbox 360. You're missing a lot of the crispness, the vibrancy in the colors isn't there. It just seems rather lackluster. Now, no one buys the Wii for the graphics, to be all fair here. It's kind of eh. One of the things that you miss because of the vibrancy, it's not there. The subtitles get drowned out, and a lot of the instructions on the screen, which I'll get to later, kind of get drowned out in the colors because everything's muted and kind of fuzzy. It's almost like I didn't put my contacts in. That's kind of what it reminds me of. The acting, since you have a little bit of a different story, is kind of the same. It kind of falls flat. You really don't feel the emotion, but I don't know how much emotion you feel in a video game anyway. It just seems like it's not there, and I can seriously imagine the actor sitting in a sound booth with headphones on in front of a big microphone, repeating their lines. In the battles, like when Shaak Ti is battling Starkiller, she has no emotion. She just kind of says her lines, and he kind of just says his lines. And it's just, nothing's there to make you feel apprehension or get that pit in your stomach where you're really trying to save your character because she's trying to kill him. It's not there. And that's something that's hard, I think, to get into the game because of that. The reason why most people buy a Wii these days is because of the really cool interface. You have the handheld controls, which make you a part of the game because you have to move your arms and your hands in order to be a part of the game. With this, the number one thing is you get to swing your lightsaber. Now, you can't go do any special fancy moves where if you try to do the Ray Park moves, sorry guys, not gonna do anything for you. Basically, you swing to the left, you swing to the right, and you go up. That's about it. You can't do any of these fancy moves. Otherwise, you just look like you're swatting at imaginary bees. You can't dance around your living room, swinging the Wiimote back and forth. Doesn't really happen. Because you do have only 4 buttons on the Wiimote and the nunchuck, you have to use both of them. There are a lot of combos like there are with any of the other game platforms. The nice thing is you can turn on the tutorials to kind of help you because there are a lot to remember between the force push, the force lightning, the grab and hold an item and the pummel somebody. It really gets confusing at first. After a while, you kind of get the muscle memory built and you kind of get your own memory where you're like, okay, I want to do this. I press this button, I press that button, and it's going to go. But they do give you little steps along the way to remind you of what to do. One of the most irritating things, though, and it kind of goes back to the graphics portion of it, is there are parts where you're like in a force hold with, say, a Rancor, when you're holding him from trying to attack you, or when you're battling Shaak Ti and you have your lightsabers crossed and you're just kind of in a holding pattern. You have to, at various intervals, push the nunchuck and push the Wiimote or turn it based on what it's telling you on the screen. But because the colors are muted and the outlines are showing you on the screen are white, it sometimes gets washed out and you don't see it quick enough. Now, they do have a little audible pop. However, in the scope of gameplay, you don't always hear it. And I found myself kind of coming late to the game with those. A little bit hard to grasp, but after the first few, you get the hang of it because it's the same pattern every single time. Turn to the left, turn to the right, whoop, turn all the way over, there you go, now push, and you've got it. That's the kind of thing, so after a while you get it in your memory and you're good. As far as the gameplay, it was a lot easier. It was something that I found easy to battle the enemies. The end boss, if you will, was a little bit harder to beat. However, when you die, you come right back and that little boss gets a little bit extra of life. So you can easily step back into it and kick their butt and keep going and going. I found the maps to be a little tricky, even though it is just a dungeon crawl. A lot of times your arrow on your map was pointing you in one direction, and when you go there, that wasn't the entryway. You actually had to go past the arrow. I found that a little frustrating. It got lost a few times because I kept trying to find it and it wasn't there, and I was getting angry. It's kind of frustrating. But, you know, you did find your way, you just kind of go past the arrow and it works out well. Besides interactive gameplay, the other thing that the Wii has that the others don't is a dueling mode. Now, you can unlock characters throughout the gameplay, and you can set up duels with a friend. You can set it a time limit, you can set how many deaths you want. There's all different kinds of levels you can play. There's Hoth, there's a shipyard, all kinds of neat things, and they have different obstacles built in them. Like the shipyard has a big hole in the middle, so you can force grab your opponent and just drop them in the hole, and you won. It's kind of cool. I did that to Arnie a few times when we were playing it. Kind of okay. I don't know. I guess if I was going to play this game hardcore, I think I would go for probably a PS3 or 360. If the subject matter wasn't as dark, I think this would be great for a kid because you can swing the lightsaber and it's interactive, gets you off your butt and makes you play. You can find more reviews at www.swactionnews.com.